Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Reese 202-203D interlocking weather stripping set. This is a two-piece system. This is comprised of the 203 U-shaped receiver, as seen here. Has that inserted material. I'm going to say that that's vinyl for that material, meaning they don't identify whether it's vinyl or if it's silicone, but from a tactily it seems like it's vinyl. This two-piece system also incorporates the 202, and if we're looking at this as it looks in your catalog perspective, the cross section, it would certainly look just like this. Okay, where you're going to mount this portion to the header, you're going to mount this portion to the face of the door, and obviously you get the concept. When the door closes, it's going to make contact just like that. Okay. From the exterior, it's going to look just like this. Very smart, clean sort of installation. Incredibly clean. I have sold this to people, and you don't sell it often, but when you do sell it is after something's occurred, like horizontal rain, a significant weather event. I've supplied this with great success to those people who have had significant water intrusion and have had outrageous amounts of damage occur because of it, just because water kept coming in. And a system like this will work tremendously towards reducing the amount of intrusion that's going to happen. Absolutely. So this is generally a drip cap system at the header of the opening. I don't see why you couldn't mount this. I know that you can mount this on the lock side as well. You certainly could. You could get that all to communicate there. You can get the door to close off and communicate against that. You're not going to have success getting this installed onto the pull side of the opening, however, because you won't be able to rotate this out and around. So as a result, I don't really see the purpose of why you would, or I don't see how you would really install this on the hinge side, on the pull side of the opening. Because that pivot point over here is what the problem is. You can't get that piece to rotate elegantly out like that, is what I'm trying to say. I suppose if this leg was significantly shorter, far shorter, you could probably make that work. It's possible. You know, I suppose if you rip that entire leg down right here, right where the vinyl needs to sit, and rip it all the way down, you might have success doing that. I've never tried it. Is the point. Because the bottom line, we're not really talking about how to hack this hardware. We're talking about how to install it in its prescribed fashion, which is really at the head. There is a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure that will allow you to review the 202-203 system, along with its sister product, the 133-203 system as well. So what you could do there to great effect is, with this system, seal the header, because that's where the water is going to come in, certainly. Here's what I mean. Movie theater. Very tall ceiling height, right? It's a movie theater. 30-foot tall ceilings. All that surface area is a sail. It captures everything that hits it, just like a sail on a sailboat. Well, in this scenario, it's water, so all that water's hitting well, let's just say the column over a double door. Let's say 84 inch. Let's say 7 foot times 30. You've got 7 times 30 of square footage. 210 square feet of that water constantly hitting it and trickling down. The water hits where the header is probably underneath the lintel, lips down the face of the frame, turns back in, drips back in there, and then starts to just drip inside those metal doors, inside them. And that's where you'll see rust, where the bottom of the door is rusted. The top's not so bad, but the bottom's so rusted, that water collects at the bottom. But then really where the interesting thing comes in is when the client says, every time it rains hard, 2 days later, my carpet's all wet. It's sunny as can be outside, but my carpet's all wet, 6 feet in front of the opening. That's because that water is being sucked up by the sponge of that carpeting and the pad below it. Water is literally collecting underneath there. And in those scenarios, when we have added a drip cap solution like this, it's a complete solution. I have had people call me up and say, I can't figure out where this water is coming from. Describe the scenario, it's a strip mall. 3'6" door in the back, it's a mattress store. Called the roofer. The roof's fine. Called the mason. The concrete's fine. Add a drip cap. That's $5 a foot. Problem solved. And that's seriously how effective drip caps are. And that's what this. And I would argue that this two-piece system would be outrageously effective. Let's take some dimensional properties. You get the concept of where this is going to be installed. Overall height of the 202 portion is about 1 1/8 inches. Overall projection, and that's really where the money comes in on this puppy. It's about 3/4 inch would be my guess. Yeah, that's spot on. So any water that's going to hit up here is going to get deflected off and straight down, because it's not going to be able to roll back up like it can just in the header and drip to the top of the door, fighting gravity that way. You're going to leave it right here, and anything that did get inside is going to be captured by that 203. Okay. Now let's talk about the 203's dimensional properties. Overall, about 1 inch wide. Overall height, about 5/8 of an inch. This material is indicated as available in the website in 3 finishes. The 202C for clear anodized aluminum, the 202D, which is dark bronze, and the 202G, which is a gold anodized material. So 3 finishes. Available in the site in every length, basically from 2 foot to 8 foot. You can have any length you want, but from 2 foot to 8 foot it's listed. If you needed lengths that were longer than 8 foot, we can certainly accommodate, but we don't list them.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Giles Snyder.
I'm here alone working, and my phone just started working.
Brought by Special Counsel Robert Mueller.
Very strange. Longer than 8 foot you can order. We don't list them because the cost to ship is generally prohibitive. If you needed one opening worth at 10 foot, freight's going to be pretty costly. If you were doing some hanger doors and you needed 50 pieces at 14.5 foot, the freight's not going to be a big deal. The cost per foot is generally linear, so you can understand what 10 foot will cost if you know what 2 foot will cost of the system. So keep that in mind. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know. We'll be happy to accommodate those longer lengths. Now, speaking of custom lengths, if you have a need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces, and simply indicate in the comment field the length that you'd like for us to cut the material back to. The reasoning is, if this was the genuine article and not just a 6 foot sample set, you'd have a hole somewhere about 3 or 4 inch from the edge. If you were to take a 4 foot set and cut it down to say 40 inch, you'd certainly eliminate that first hole that's there. And the manufacturer's published data says that this material comes with slotted holes, and I cannot provide evidence of that because these are sample sets. But I can tell you that slotted holes would be advantageous from the factory, and that screws that would be provided for those holes would be in a complementary finish. The point of the hole preparation is, feel free to indicate in the comment field what you would like to see happen. Slotted holes with screws. No holes at all, but please include the standard fasteners. Round holes only required. Whatever you would like to see happen can be accommodated, almost always without an additional cost. Notching, making L notches, U-shaped notches, that stuff runs at an additional charge, but doesn't apply to perimeter gasketing. It does so to thresholds. The point being, we can accommodate what you actually want. If you're going to do 112 openings of this stuff, I would really think you're going to want to order it all the right length and specifically define how you want the screws, the preparations for screws to come, so that you can get to the job and install the material. It might be a 30-story building in southern Florida in August. And having worked in that environment, you don't want to spend any more time out there than you have to. Let Reese do the work. They're happy to do the work. They're doing the work anyway. Let's just define what's going to happen. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can review not only all of the Reese products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog where you can check everything out Reese. Now, I'm quite partial to Reese, and that's because a few things. Their customer service, superior. Their lead times to ship, the fastest in the industry. The quality of their product, in terms of the dark bronze anodized, best in the business. Their extrusion thickness seems to be thicker, especially on their thresholds. When you get your threshold, you say, my gosh, this is made of aluminum, but it feels so heavy. It's probably a thicker extrusion. That's normal with Reese. So I'm quite partial to them. I will use Reese exclusively. No substitution, especially on those openings that are going to be highly visible. Because I want the weather stripping to look as elegant as the significant investment in the rest of the hardware on the opening. If you have any questions on the Reese 203D system of drip cap or any other Reese product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.